All things leadership. My name is Beth Bergen, and I'm an international award winning leadership and communication coach. And I'm just developing this fabulous idea around what I call leadership intelligence. I'm here each Tuesday at 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. We've been talking a whole lot in these last few weeks about confidence in communication, particularly in tough conversations. And we were able to kind of work out that if we were going to have confidence, or in order for us to have confidence in those tough conversations, we actually needed to have confidence in ourselves. And last last week, what we looked at was, three strategies or three foundations for having that self confidence. One of them was authenticity, and one was being more kind to yourself, not giving yourself such a hard time in your own self talk. And the third one was, not being the loudest. Like confidence isn't just around being the loudest. And the learning out of that was, hey, listen more closely, notice the things that you're noticing, and notice the things that people aren't saying. And this week, what I wanted to do was take a bit of a segue. I wanted to segue across to um, giving praise and compliments. Now, in the current climate with conversation, in the current workplace environment, where it can be really easy for someone to consider themselves to be put down, or to be undermined, or to be disrespected by the comment or the praise or the compliments that you make. We don't want you as a leader to be praising and complimenting people and for it to be seen as an inappropriate comment. So you need to be a little bit careful. It can be tricky because of the perception of others. So be aware of your languaging, and make sure that you're being respectful and not sarcastic, or that you're being respectful and not inappropriate. Um, you need to be really careful. So that's a good place for us to start. That's one of the first important points. The second one is this: it's really important when we're paying a compliment or we're giving praise that we're specific. We need to be quite specific about what it is that the individual has done that you're noticing. Because if it's specific, then they can take it on board. Like if you were to say to me, "Oh, Beth, you look fantastic today." I'm actually entitled to say to you, "Oh, well, which bit? Which bit?" Because a generic compliment isn't going to land, or may not land as well as a specific compliment. Is this something for you to remember when you're praising as a parent, as a partner, as a family member, and definitely as a leader? Be really specific, because if someone's own self esteem or their own perception of the work that they've done and how well they're doing that, if that is really low, saying, "Ooh, Beth, you look fantastic," it will just bounce off. And when it just bounces off, what that means is that whatever you've given them, the praise, the compliment that you've given, isn't being taken on board. And we'll talk a little more at the end about accepting compliments, because lots of us find that hard to do as well. So, another really important point is this: a simple thank you. A simple thank you is so effective and so important. It's really vital that you learn and develop a daily habit Say thank you. Make sure that it is part of who you are as a leader. It will get you respect and praise all around the place because it is just underutilized. So that's it. Those can be tricky. So mind your languaging, be respectful, be specific rather than generic, and certainly say thank you. Finally, before I give you some examples of compliments, make sure that when you are complimenting someone that you're actually celebrating their achievement, whether this be an individual or a team, whether it be a small win or a large win, and whether it be that you are going to celebrate them publicly or privately. It's important that people get some additional recognition as part of the compliment that you might be giving. What is a compliment? Well, it's a powerful small action. It costs you nothing and it creates a win win situation. What it creates for you and for your team member is this feeling that they're valued, that they're respected by others, that they belong. And these are all things that you, as a leader, really want to be creating in your team. They all want this. And of course, it lifts mood straight away. Praise, thank yous, recognition. That's what your team are looking for from you as a leader. So let's have a look now at some examples of compliments. Now, I've made these specifically generic was what I was going to say. I these are kind of like templates that you can work with. So I've made them simple and straightforward so that you can add your own flavor and you can add the specifics into them. Yeah. So please don't be thinking she just told us before to make them specific and now she's come up with some generic ones. The first one is this. And I love this one because this is a compliment you can pay anybody anytime and it's based on your observations. The compliment is this. You handled that situation really well. You imagine you're waiting in line to get a coffee, and the person in front of you is really difficult, and they're putting pressure on the barista or on the server. You can see everyone squirming. You can see that it's kind of difficult for them to deal with it, but they handle it really well. They resolve it. They de-escalate it, doesn't get out of hand. The next person in line or someone saying to them, you handled that situation really well, especially when it's right after the situation has occurred. That's an absolute mood booster. It's an absolute booster. You can make that comment as the observer, and it can be really genuine because there it was. It just happened right then. If you don't have an opportunity in your team to provide that immediately after the situation has occurred, then make sure that you reference it at some time within the next 12 to 24, no more than 36 hours. Why? Because then you can add some of that actual specific and then you can be saying, yeah, that situation with so and so, you handled that really well, and you're giving them the praise. The second compliment is this one. I'm really impressed with your ability to work under pressure. No one likes working under pressure. We'd all much rather be in a situation where we weren't working under pressure. Now, you can dig in here to the specifics that I was talking about earlier. Don't be doing this, don't be making this as a backhanded compliment. Don't be having some hidden criticism in there. If what's happening is that your team member can't work under pressure at all, do not say this to them. Don't say this to them because you know that is it's backhanded, and there's a whole lot of hidden criticism in there. You don't want that. Neither, that rise above that as a leader. Criticism, sarcasm rather, isn't where you need to be going to, particularly if what you're intending to do is give, or particularly if what you're doing is wrapping it up, your sarcasm up, as praise and criticism. A third compliment for you to give is this one. Hey, I really enjoy the way that you bring out the best in people. Now, you can again make that quite specific. It might be, I really enjoy the way you bring the best out in, name the person in these situations. I really enjoy how you've shared your learning with the new team members, and I can see that they're really progressing. Use it as a template to build on. It's really specific when you do it that way, but whatever way you do it, I enjoy the way you do that thing. Talks to them, it shows that they've got that they're actually making an effort here. It shows their willingness. It shows and really acknowledges that they've got a growth mindset and they're sharing that with other people in the team, that they're able to bring the team along a journey. It's a great compliment to give. The fourth one I'd like to share with you today is, first of all, this is a no. Do not say, oh, great job, and just leave it at that. No, that's a no. Instead, talk about how your approach was really informative. I enjoyed watching that happen. I enjoy watching everything come together like that. Your comments were really inspiring. Be specific. Great job is the same as saying, "Hey Beth, you look fantastic." If you are confident that your team member and your team will hear you saying, "Oh, great job," and you are confident that you can say great job and then add lots of other specific pieces of praise or compliments after it, go for it. Use great job. But one on one, if that's all you're going to say, there's a danger it's going to bounce. So I really encourage you to hone in on the progress that the people have been making with what they're doing, or the effort that they're making. Hone in on those specifics. Now, the really awesome thing is that when you raise those specifics, and it's the same when we're parenting our children, you've potentially heard or read, notice the things that they're doing well, not the things that they're not doing well. So notice the positives rather than the negatives. When we continue to praise what is working, then there's every likelihood that that will work more often. And that's what's really important here. Okay. So I want to finish with receiving compliments. I've spent, you know, 14 or 15 minutes talking to you about the value of praise and complimenting and how you can do that, and given you, some basic templates that you can start complimenting people with. It's important, if you're going to give compliments, that you learn how to receive them. This is what you would do. You would simply say, "Thank you. Appreciate that." and then you would be quiet. And when you are being quiet, you will quieten down whatever might be going on in your mind that says, this old thing, or, it was nothing. Oh, yeah, nah, no sweat. One of the things that we do automatically is we reject the compliment with what we say immediately afterwards. Now, there's been lots and lots of research over the years, and this bit I'm going to use women as an example because this is largely where it happens. So someone might say, that's I love that dress you've got on. And women will very often say, this old thing, I've had this for ages, rather than saying, yeah, I know, it looks awesome, doesn't it? And absorbing and taking on the compliment. We tend to bat the compliments away from us. So if you're going to be getting really good at praising and complimenting, then I would also encourage you to get good at receiving compliments. So what are you going to do? You will say thank you, and then you will be quiet. You will be quiet. It's harder than you think. Although once you get used to it, hey, that's it. You learn to accept them. You learn to accept them. And that's if you're going to give them, I'd love you to learn to accept them as well. So where do you go from here? I would really encourage you to be looking out for opportunities to practice both giving praise and giving compliments, but also be aware of when compliments are paid to you and say thank you. The other thing that I would really encourage you to do that comes out of our conversation today is notice and be more deliberate about saying thank you for all sorts of things. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because thank you in itself is a compliment. Now, final reminder, praise and compliments are very different from providing feedback. They're very different from providing feedback. With feedback, what we're looking to do is to talk about what we noticed that went well, what we noticed that could have gone better, and some suggestions for how to do that. That's a very different thing from praise and compliments. Okay, thank you, everyone. I've loved it that you've been here today and that you've spent some time with me today. If you've got questions or comments, please pop them in the chat and I will get back to you. Love to receive your comments and your questions. If you're watching this on replay, please pop hashtag replay. If you have any questions or you'd like to reach out and connect with me, way you go. I look forward to hearing from you. I will see you here at the same time next week. Bye now.